Hey guys, I really felt like doing a tag today, and instead of doing one of the many tags that I've actually been tagged in, I've decided to do a tag that I actually wasn't tagged in because logic. So anyway, I'm gonna do the social media book tag. I saw Kristina Horner do this and Sarah at TheLibraryOfSarah, and it just sounded really fun, and so I just decided that that's what I wanted to do. Let's just get started. The first one is Twitter, and for Twitter you're supposed to say your favorite shortest book, and for this one I'm gonna say Ella Enchanted by Gail, Carson, Levine. I think this is less than 200 pages and it's a middle grade book, so it goes really quickly and the print's pretty big and the margins are big. And this is a book I really loved as a young person, and I still love it. I've actually been meaning to reread this, so I picked this out as a good short book. And if you haven't read this, it's really pleasant, and I think it's just universally enjoyable. The second one is Facebook, and for that you're supposed to say a book that everyone pressured you into reading. And I actually often am the one that's doing the pressuring, so I had a hard time thinking of a book that someone actually pressured me into reading, but the one I decided on is The Book Thief by Markus, Zusak, and it's actually kind of funny because this is my favorite book, and I might not have read it, or it would have taken me even longer if my friend Ella specifically had not forced me basically to read this book. She read it and she begged me and she begged me, and I just wasn't feeling it, and then finally, basically just so she would leave me alone, I decided to pick it up and it became my favorite book of all time. So thank you, Ella. But obviously most people have heard of this book. It's wonderful, and if you haven't read it you really need to because it's just amazing. The next one is Tumblr, and for that you're supposed to say a book that you read before it was cool. I have many friends that call me a hipster bully because apparently I used to / currently still like to talk about the things that I liked before they were cool. I think that's pretty stupid, so I try not to do that because honestly no one really cares what you liked before it got cool. It's just not, no one cares. I don't like talking about this because it makes me feel like a jerk, but one book that I did read before it was cool is Divergent by Veronica Roth, and I feel like I can prove it because I actually have an advanced reader's edition. So I read this book before it even came out, which I still think is pretty cool. It makes me feel relevant. Funny thing is, I actually haven't read the second two books in this series, so awkward, but yeah, this is a book that I read before it came out. The next category or thing is MySpace, and for that you're supposed to say a book that you're not sure or you don't remember if you liked it or not. And for that one I'm gonna say The Catcher in the Rye because I read this when I was in high school and I think I liked it, but I honestly don't really remember. I should probably reread this because I think I liked it, so it's probably worth it to find out why. The next social media thing is YouTube, and for that you're supposed to talk about a book that you wish they would make into a movie. And obviously this is kind of a sketchy thing because sometimes when books become movies they're not as good and they disappoint you. I tend to enjoy movies that are based on books just because I appreciate the fresh perspective on the story. So for this one I'm gonna say The Night Circus because this is just a really visually interesting book. I think it would be really cool as a movie. The costumes would be amazing. I think the story would be really good. I read this a little while ago, so I don't remember a ton about the plot, but it was just really magical, and I remember just being completely transported while I was reading it into this very visual, very interesting world. So I would love to see what a really good director and art team would do with a movie that is based on this book. The very last category, fittingly, is Goodreads, and for this you're supposed to talk about a book that you recommend to everyone. And I have a lot of books that I recommend to everyone. One that I pretty much universally have been shoving on people is Me Before You by Jojo Moyes, and I've talked about this many times. But this is just a really wonderful book. It's literary fiction, it's dramatic, it's emotional, it's just one of the best books I have ever read, and everyone that I have forced into reading this has liked it. So I've got a pretty good track record so far. I'll link to it on Goodreads so you can read more about it, but it's really good. Definitely worth your time if you feel like checking it out. And yeah, it's just so good. As far as tagging people goes, I'm never sure what to do because I don't want anyone to feel left out, but at the same time, it's really fun to hear your name in a video. So I'm gonna just say this is an open invitation. If anyone wants to do this social media book tag, please do. I think it's really interesting. I will just maybe put a couple users in the description if I think of specific people to tag, but like really, truly, I mean it when I say everyone should do it, because I love watching tags, and this one specifically. So yeah, I guess I'll see you guys later. Bye.